Welcome to the Night Tube. I'm Stephen Knight and I'm going to be talking to you about the Nazi pug dog video controversy, which is a sentence I never thought I'd have to say out loud. This is Mark Meechan, aka Count Dankula. He's a Scottish YouTube personality and general shit stirrer. He's in a lot of trouble at the moment. He trained his girlfriend's little cute pug dog to behave and mimic like a Nazi, to Sieg Heil and respond to commands of gas the Jews. You know what, I'm just going to show you in full. Enjoy.
My girlfriend is always ranting and raving about how cute and adorable her wee dog is, and so I thought I would turn them into the least cute thing that I could think of, which is a Nazi. Buddha, do you want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Mum will gas the Jews, son. You want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Come on, gas the Jews. Come on, gas the Jews, son. Come on. Do you want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Gas the Jews? Jews. It's time to get up now, Buddha. It's time to get up. Do I gas the Jews?
Ausgekehlt wurde von dem leichten Zeug, das sie einzufinden begann. Heute müssen wir selbst...
Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Gas the Jews? Gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Buddha, do you want to gas the Jews? Come on, gas the Jews, mate! Come on, gas the Jews! Gas the Jews? Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Who's a good wee Nazi? What, gas the Jews? Gas the Jews? Gas the Jews? Gas the Jews. I'm not racist, by the way. I just really wanted to her off. Jews.
So, some of you may have chuckled at that video, many of you maybe not, a lot of you probably would have found that offensive, which is fine. I think what's clear is that it's intended to be a joke. This is not pro-Nazi propaganda. In fact, it only works as a punchline if you're anti-Nazi. The creator of the video was trying to think of the least cute, least desirable thing to be, and he settled on a Nazi, an actual Nazi, the cultural, stereotypical bogeyman across all our popular media, entertainment. We've loved to shoot them up in video games since way back when, right up to the present day.
Come and fucking get me, you fascist Nazi pig!
We love seeing them get shot up in movies too. In fact, we're so eager to see Nazis be shot up that even a Nazi dying from being shot the fuck up isn't the end of them being shot the fuck up. Thanks to an entire Nazi zombie subgenre, we can enjoy all the dead ones getting shot the fuck up again. There is precisely zero love for Nazis in Western popular culture and entertainment, and that's my point. We've taken shots at them in humour and culture since before I was born. You know who would really object to a video depicting a pug dog as a Nazi? Actual Nazis. According to the BBC, Nazi Germany pursued Hitler's salute Finnish dog. Finnish dog, which gave Nazi salutes, so annoyed Germany's World War II government that it launched a campaign against its owner. This video posted by Count Dankula would have disappeared into the abyss of irreverent YouTube nonsense were it not for what came next. The police were informed and came to his house and arrested him for it. As if that wasn't embarrassing enough for the British justice system, I assume that it'd be thrown out before it got to court, or the judge would demand to know why his time had been wasted with such nonsense. Sanity was too much to hope for, however, as Judge Derek O'Carroll found him guilty of a hate crime. A man from Scotland uploading a video where he makes his dog behave like a Nazi for shits and giggles is found guilty of a hate crime. He is to be sentenced on April 23rd and could go to jail. Somehow the courts are incapable of making a distinction between some knob who teaches his dog to Sieg Heil and people who want to herd Jews into the oven. The judge stated that the video was grossly offensive and anti-Semitic and racist in nature, and agreed with the prosecution that context was irrelevant. So to be clear, there is no context in which you can say "gas the Jews" without committing a hate crime. No context whatsoever. Let me repeat, there is no context in which you can say "gas the Jews" without committing a hate crime. So whatever you do, refrain from saying "gas the Jews," otherwise you can expect a knock on the door from the police. I'm aware that I have a lot of European members of my audience as well, so in fear of maybe the language barrier preventing you from getting this message, this is what you should never say lest you commit a hate crime. Gas die Juden, gas les Juifs, gas los Judíos, gas libre. Ach, gas the Jews, lad, freedom! I hope I've made that clear. Never, ever, ever say gas the Jews. One of the most disappointing aspects of this whole conviction for creating a joke video is the lack of outrage from the news media or the general public, which I suppose it shouldn't come as a surprise when our culture is infested with debates over whether a Heineken advert's racist, whether an H&M advert's racist, whether it's always racist to utter the nigger word. Endless debates over whether a Heineken advert is racist, whether an H&M advert is racist, whether it's always racist to utter the N-word. We've created this ultra-conservative environment now where people are afraid to say what they think lest they will be shouted down as a racist and a bigot. And this restriction on your freedom to express yourself is being sold to you as some sort of liberal progressivism when it's anything but liberal. The silence from well-known comedians and left-wing activists is also deafening. I think that Ricky Gervais, David Baddiel, Tom Walker, who's also known as Jonathan Pye, are the only three people I can really think of that have bothered to stick two fingers up to the mob and stand for some principles. But it gets worse. There are actually people who deal in the trade of comedy and free expression, writers, comedians, who have actually come out against Count Dankula and have actually attempted to justify this conviction. This is my top 3 Nazi pug shit list. In at number 3 is Nick Pettigrew of The New Statesman. The New Statesman used to be some leftist beacon of liberal values. The great Christopher Hitchens, peace be upon him, even wrote for the publication back in the day. Fast forward to 2018, where we have a man facing potential jail time for a joke video, and what does The New Statesman do? They run an article by Nick Pettigrew condemning Ricky Gervais for speaking out against someone being convicted for a joke. One of the few British comedians with a huge platform speaks up about this, and what does The New Statesman do? It publishes a hit piece. Nick is also incredibly confused on the issue of freedom of expression, writing at one point that if Ricky Gervais really is a fan of free speech, maybe he should stop blocking Twitter users who criticise him. How is it possible to think that blocking someone on Twitter is a violation of free speech? The right to speak is not the right to have someone's attention. It's not even the right to be heard whenever you want. If anything, blocking someone on Twitter is closer to self-censorship. It means that one less person is able to see what you were saying. Talking of expressing yourself on Twitter, a quick scan of Nick Pettigrew's output on there will reveal some weapons-grade level of hypocrisy where offensive jokes are concerned. Remember, Nick thinks that it's unacceptable to defend offensive jokes under the guise of free speech, yet will tweet, That is literally a joke where the punchline is a dead politician. He even tweeted this out on the same day his New Statesman article went out. Now, were I a complete fucking idiot, I'd be onto the police. I'd be making all sorts of silly noises about offence and online death threats. How jokes about dead politicians are reckless given our current climate of terror attacks on the Houses of Parliament or the murder of Labour MP Joe Cox. But I'm not a fucking idiot, so I won't. Here's another one. This is a joke where the punchline involves Nick Pettigrew arriving at a car accident, noticing it is someone he doesn't like, a real individual that exists in this case, Jeremy Clarkson, and taking joy in watching him bleed to death. Officially offensive. Take this one, well tweeted out, presumably watching the X Factor. Oh great, it's the least tranny pussycat doll. Clearly a transphobic hate crime if we're going to go by today's current standards. And this whole it's okay when we say offensive things but different rules apply to those we don't like, it is a theme that will continue throughout my top 3 countdown of the biggest shit on the issue of Nazi pugs and freedom of expression. In at number 2, another comedian, allegedly, Omid Djalili. Omid Djalili. Omid is all over the place on this one. He mainly refused to speak out against Dankula's conviction because of the type of people Dankula is now associating with, such as Sargon of Akkad, Tommy Robinson, Paul Joseph Watson, etc. Whether you like these people is entirely irrelevant to the principle of freedom of expression. Also, why is it, do you think, that when the people who would pass all the relevant purity tests refuse to speak out and offer support, that people like Mark Meechan may end up accepting the support of people you and I don't particularly like? If you start complaining that people are defending the rights of people you don't like, it's because you don't believe in or understand rights. What you actually want is privilege for your own beliefs and views. Continuing the vein of offensive jokes are okay when I do it, please enjoy this Jews are tight with money routine from Omid.
Why don't you tell us a joke, Mr. Comedian? I said, look, I'm a stand-up, I don't do jokes, okay? No, go on, tell us a joke, Mr. Comedian. And hey, be careful, I'm Jewish. I couldn't help myself. Alright, okay, Jewish kid goes up to his dad, says, Dad, can I have 50p? And the dad says, 30p? What do you want 20p for? I haven't got 10p. Here's 5p, share it with your sister.
Or the Jews have big noses, don't they? type humour. Again, this style of offensive humour is perfectly acceptable when Omid and Nick Pettigrew do it, but when some YouTuber from Scotland makes a funny little video, suddenly the same rules don't apply. In at number 1 is Graham Linehan. Graham Linehan is a celebrated writer of a number of very successful British comedies such as Father Ted, Big Train, The IT Crowd. However, the online personality of the man is almost a parody of a far-left virtue-signalling ragemonger. He's not shut up about the Nazi pug case on Twitter, and were I a comedy writer, neither would I. Except Graham Linehan's object of scorn is Count Dankula and anyone who is supporting him in the face of this latest court decision. Graham went so far as to imply Jonathan Pye was a Nazi apologist for making a satirical video about the court decision.
And if the judge has ruled that context is irrelevant, then surely even me reporting that he used the phrase gas the Jews is anti-Semitic. If context is irrelevant, I am right now inciting racial hatred according to the Scottish courts just by reporting the case. In which case, fuck it. If I'm going down in style. Higgskeil! Fight the doys have Neuska! Never fucking springtime for Hitler! And right, well, Tim, this is me miming being a Nazi fucking the Von Trapps. Fucking grow up, you stupid, authoritarian, humorless, tyrannical cunts.
Sticking to the theme of it's okay when we do it, here's a few clips from comedy shows that Graham Linehan's helped write.
Dougal, look.
I am Chinese, if you please. Come on, Dougal, lighten up.
Where are they
going? I invite them round and they don't even let me tell them my side of the story.
But when Graham does this, it's hilarious, nuanced comedy. When some YouTuber does it, it's alt-right propaganda. Graham Linehan also contributed to one of the most offensive British comedies ever, Jam.
Lucy, look, alright, yeah, I've done a stupid thing, okay?
Bloody right you have.
You've got to understand, it was nothing.
Oh, fuck off, Simon.
Look, I love you.
I bet you said the same to her.
I don't give a fuck about her, okay?
You don't need to believe that.
Just a spur of the moment thing, and it meant nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, it was just... I didn't even know her name, for God's sake.
How come Lana saw you snogging on the pavement?
Oh, she said that, did
Yes.
she? Yeah, well, that's bollocks, Lucy, because my hand was over her mouth.
So,
I didn't even get one kiss off the woman. Because I was bloody raping her. I've never even met her before. I mean, I was out of there as soon as I'd done it. I couldn't see her again. Come on, you nut.
That was a joke where the punchline was rape. If you think this sort of thing is an isolated incident in the UK, it really isn't. Things are going backwards. People have been in trouble with the law in recent years for tweeting jokes about blowing up airports, for wearing offensive t-shirts, or wearing St. George flags with the words "fuck ISIS" on it. It was reported in October last year that over 9 people a day were being arrested for posting offensive messages online. According to The Times, more than 3,300 people were detained and questioned last year over so-called trolling on social media and other online forums, a rise of nearly 50% in 2 years. So what can we do to voice our opposition and dissent to this bizarre Orwellian crackdown on online speech? The 23rd of April is the sentencing day of Mark Meechan, and we will find out whether or not he's going to jail for a funny video about a Nazi dog. A protest has been arranged in his name outside of the Houses of Parliament in London. That starts at 12 p.m. I will be there with my camera, getting the opinions of people, documenting the event, making record of it. And it's an opportunity for people to let the government know we are deeply unsatisfied with this nanny state mollycoddling of what we can and can't say online, what's considered abusive, what's considered offensive, as if we need the state to somehow regulate how we communicate digitally. So please join me there if you are willing. You can find a link to that event in the video description, so RSVP. Thank you for listening. Please hit subscribe and consider supporting me on Patreon, patreon.com/gspellchecker. So never ever respond to "gas the Jews." Do you understand? Never Zeke Hale. What must we never say? Gas the Jews, correct. Rape!